Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Welcome back to another edition of the WTP Sports Dudes on this Thursday evening, and we breaking down the AFC South. I love football, and we are so close to football, college football, NFL football. It's the time of the year where I tell my children, look, make sure your grades, you keep up with your grades. Make sure you do your chores and make sure you respect your mama because you won't see daddy until around February. That's how much I love football. No, I'm just kidding. You know them kids and family come first. But today I got some very special guests with me. And I got my main man, the living legend out of Ohio, Mr. Robert Brown. How you doing this evening, sir?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, man. The weather has been beautiful the last couple of days. No more scorchers. No more what they call bird box from last week when we had all that fog from the fires. Man, I'm excited about tonight because you know I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. They're going to be the AFC South champions this year, so I'm ready to rep my boys. I should have put on a Titan shirt, but I got on Bluey because I was with them kids today.
Mr. Brown with the Tennessee Titans winning the AFC South. That's very interesting. And I got my main man, SEC Sean tonight. How you feeling, homie?
We're really good. That'd be a bold take, Rob. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. If you put $1 down on that, you would beg, but you could. I'd say you could retire, but you already did. and post game, you spot on, brother. My wife understands that about this time we put a pause on this marriage for football season.
Yeah, everything you want to do, let's get it out the way before the fall. That's how you do it. And these fine gentlemen are some of the finest sports analysts you'll find across YouTube. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. We got my pop in the chat. I appreciate you, homie. Shout out to you. Oh, we got Aaron, little Aaron, my daughter. How you doing, baby? Thanks for joining in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. So let's get right into it, man. I mean, you know, the AFC South was crazy last year. I expect the AFC South to be crazy again this season. We're going to start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the defending champions of the AFC South. And I'm going to start with you, Rob. And my question would be, who will be Trevor Lawrence's most productive wide receiver? Will it be Brian Thomas? Will it be Jacoby Myers? Or will it be Parker Washington?
I got to go with Michael Thomas. I mean, I think Michael Thomas is in maybe year 7 or so. He hasn't been as healthy as he needed to be over his career. I think he wants to come out and make a statement so he can at least allow himself to maybe play a couple of more years in this league. And I think Trevor Lawrence probably is going to trust him the most out of all of those receivers because of the experience that he has. So I'm going with Michael Thomas. I want to see him do really, really well this year. So that's my pick, Michael Thomas.
You mean Brian Thomas?
Brian Thomas. Yeah, I don't know where I got Michael from.
Nice. What you got on this, SEC?
Well, wherever Michael Thomas is happy and loves you, Rob. So, I'm going to go with the breakout Parker Washington. 58 catches, 847 yards, 5 touchdowns last year. I just think he's going to be more dynamic for Trevor Lawrence. He was special teams also, so they've got the speed there, but I think he's going to be your breakout candidate. for the Jaguars this year. I just think the speed and the athleticism pushes them over the top.
Yeah, Parker Washington is Parker Washington for me. Shout out to B-Boy2121 Q4X in the chat. Shout out to you. We appreciate you being here. For me, I got to go with Parker Washington. And only for the simple fact that Trevor Lawrence likes to target his slot receiver. And I think with Parker Washington being in the slot, SEC Sean mentioned it, he kind of broke out last year. I think that will continue to happen this season. But I think Brian Thomas, man, a lot of people are leaving him for dead. Ross spoke about Brian Thomas. I like Brian Thomas coming out of LSU. He had a great rookie year where he went over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. But then last year he has a down year. So we'll see if he can get back to that. Anything else on the wide receivers, fellas?
I'm going to say something about Trevor Lawrence. He's going to have to make sure that he's able to stay in that pocket and not get rattled, man, and get that ball to those wide receivers. The verdict is out on him as being one of the quarterbacks who has not really lived up to the hype he came out of college with. So hopefully he can get the ball in the hands of these wide receivers that he has.
For sure, no doubt about that. Now, I want to ask y'all about Travis Hunter because the Jacksonville Jaguars gave up a lot of capital to get him on their team. It's like, in their draft rooms, they really wanted him. They couldn't leave the draft without him. And I get that. But do y'all think, I'm going to start with you, SEC. Do y'all think that this is the right call to play the majority of his snaps on the defensive side of the ball?
No. Okay, on the defensive side of the ball, yes. I misheard the question. I thought you said, just more at cornerback and away from safety-ish. I think he needs to play more safety. I think he's more of a ball hawk anyway. I would spot him on the offense, but coming off a knee injury, too much, you're making cuts and you're zigging and zagging on offense, trying to dodge people. I would at least take this year and focus more on the offense, on the defensive side of the ball for Travis Hunter if I'm Jacksonville. That's just my take on it. I think it'll do him better for this year for getting a full year under his belt, just playing defense.
How about you, Mr. Brown?
Oh, most definitely, man. He needs to be on the defensive side of the ball. Wide receivers, man, and offensive guys that play that position, they come a dime a dozen, man. Cornerbacks, they don't come a dime a dozen. Good safeties, they don't come a dime a dozen, man. This guy is an elite athlete who we believe can be one of the better defensive backs in the country after he gets a couple of years under his belt. I'm definitely going to put him on the defensive side of the ball. And I said last year when he was first going into the draft that whoever drafts him, they need to put him on the defensive side of the ball because cornerbacks, they come at a premium, man, and you don't get a whole lot of really, really good ones. And when you get a good one, you got to play him in his natural position.
No doubt about that. Shout out to Brandon Holloman. I'm sorry if I butchered that, 51. He said Jack's new stadium has a button where if you push it, the stadium sails across the ocean to London.
That is too funny.
That's crazy, my man. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you, man. Listen, fellas, when it comes to Travis Hunter, I know he's a versatile guy. I know he's a heck of an athlete, and I know he can play football. But I think Rob agreed with this too when we were analyzing Travis Hunter coming out the draft last season. I think it was me and Rob were the only ones, or Parlay Pope, if I can remember correctly, who said, it's kind of disrespectful to think you're going to come into the NFL and play both sides of the ball full time. Like, this is a grown man's league. And I think it's the right move for Jacksonville to focus in on Travis Hunter playing defense, especially coming off an injury. It's already a physical enough job. And anything else on Travis Hunter, fellas?
You know what? I like that take that SEC Sean gave us about him playing some safety. I think that's a really smart move to really help him to get his knee back up to shape. Playing at the safety, you don't have to do as much as you got to do some running, but you don't have to do as much running as a corner, especially having to guard a guy man to man all over the field. I think that's a really smart move just to let him be a ball hawk back there as safety.
Yeah, he definitely would create a lot of turnovers. Is that
yeah,
what you see?
Yeah, if you put him on defense, sorry to cut you off post game. If you put him on defense, free safety, it's kind of just go, cover it, get the ball, hawk it, go find it, because he's got the athletic ability to track it down and go get it. He's going to catch it if he gets near it. And to me, rehabbing that knee for a year while playing defense and then come back next year on offense, I mean, that just makes the most sense in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. Let's look at the running back situation. Shout out to Ponzi Scheme F2T in the chat. They said they bash Mike Tomlin, but when's the last time the Cowboys had a winning season? SEC Shy, you got anything on that? You muted.
There we go. I couldn't get it to click off. I'm not a Cowboy fan by any stretch of the imagination, and even though I'm from Texas. So I like to go after Cowboy fans, and it's not hard. I mean, Cowboy fans, they're kind of like Aggie fans. When you start talking about, hey, we're having a good year, they just go, when was the last time you did anything?
Yeah.
And then we just kind of shut up and move on. Aggie fans do. Cowboy fans don't. They start, we got 6-7 Super Bowl. Yeah, okay.
Brandon back in the chat, he said Kyler Murray lost his job parking cars because he would never throw the customer their key.
I don't know who you are, Brandon Hall, but dude, join every stream, bro.
Please. But man, let's get back to it. The Jacksonville Jaguars let Travis Etienne, it's not Etienne, it's Etienne, go to the New Orleans Saints. So Bashaw Tootin is going to take over the starting running back position. What kind of season can y'all see Bashaw Tootin having in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence? I'm going to start with you, Mr. Brown.
I mean, I think he can have a really good football season. We've seen what Etienne, if that's how you pronounce it, how he played. And I don't think he really played all the way up into the potential that I thought he had. I thought he would have some better seasons in Jacksonville. But I think the new incumbent at running back for them will do just as good, if not better, than what his predecessor did. So I think he's going to have a really good season. They're going to have to count on him to run the football, especially in this division, because you got to be able to run the football against these really, really good defenses. So if you can't run the football to be able to set up your pass game, you're going to be in trouble. But I think he's going to have a really good season.
What about you, SEC? What you seeing Bashaw Tootin?
I see him. I think he's going to have a solid season. Year two, you do have, I hate to say veteran, you do have a veteran presence there with him and Chris Rodriguez. I say veteran, he's been in the league 3 years. So they're unproven at running back, and that's concerning when you go into and we're going to get into why I think it's really concerning, because you can't be one-dimensional in this division. There's a defense coming up that's going to be nasty. And if you're one-dimensional, It's just not going to work well for you. So I think they can be good. They're not going to wow the world in my mind, but I think you're going to see more of a running back by committee, and just kind of I could see each of them going for maybe, between 700 to 900 yards, somewhere in that range for him. And then maybe Rodriguez gets around 500-600, something like that.
Brandon, I'm interested to know why you think Chris Rodriguez would be the RB1 in Jacksonville this season. Because I think it's Tootin, simply because he's more versatile. And he's the guy who backed up HN last year. I really like his ability to catch. He's only 5'9", but he's over 200 pounds. So he can take the ball up the middle a little bit. I don't think you want to do it too much. But I think he's a lot more faster, athletic, and versatile than Chris Rodriguez. Let us know why you think that, my man. But let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts. They started off really hot last year. Daniel Jones goes down, and the season is pretty much over. So my question to y'all, and I'm going to start with you, SEC, is do you think Daniel Jones will stay healthy for the entire season?
Well, post-game, knowing that that's your team over there, I know you're hoping so. Achilles's are weird. It's one of those that everything I've seen and heard and read, and I'm sure you might know a little more even, is that he looks like he's on track to be ready for camp. So that's a good thing. Daniel Jones is, I'm not going to say what makes that team go, but you saw what happened without Daniel Jones. So I think he stays healthy this year. I hope he stays healthy this year. I want him to stay healthy this year because I believe this is going to be one of the more competitive divisions from the top in football. If Daniel Jones can stay healthy.
100%. What you got on this, Mr. Brown?
I don't think so. Once you suffer injuries like that, it's really going to trickle down to something else. And I think that's what's going to happen with Daniel Jones. He was lights out at the beginning of the season last year, and he was on his way to being the league's MVP until he went down. But I think they're going to need him to do more than what he was doing last year, even though they got Jonathan Taylor. And I just don't think he's going to be able to go a whole season without having some kind of lump on his head to where he misses a game or two. So I don't think he's going to go unscathed this season.
Look, fellas, we talked about this last year on the podcast. I did not like the Daniel Jones signing from the get-go. And it wasn't because I didn't think Daniel Jones could play well in Shane Steichen's system. It's the fact that he's always injured. And if Daniel Jones can't stay healthy, I don't think the Colts are going anywhere. Now, I mean, Anthony Richardson has been a bust up to this point. Can we see him at some point this season if Daniel Jones goes down? Or could we see the second-year player from Notre Dame, Riley Leonard? It's going to be really interesting, but the general manager for the Colts and Shane Steichen and that coaching staff, they're putting all their marbles in that Daniel Jones hat. And if he goes down, they'll probably be looking for another job. So I'm hoping he continues to stay healthy. He gets back to where he was. But if he can't stay healthy, man, I don't feel good about this Colts team. There are some players I like. Liatu Latu at the defensive end position. I think he's going to break out, but we're going to get into that. Shout out to the people in the chat commenting. Ponzi Scheme said, I'm not sure if there is a RB1 in the NFL nowadays. Yeah, there's very few bell cows. And Brandon back in the chat said, coming back from injury and teams have tape on his Colts play now. Great point. He also said Colts' alternative quarterback was probably Kurt Warner or Steve Young, 60-year-olds and need a few snaps. Join the Colts. That's hilarious, Brandon. But, fellas, the Colts, they trade Michael Pittman to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will they regret letting Michael Pittman go and essentially making Alec Pierce their number one wide receiver? What you got, SEC?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think the loss of Pittman is going to hurt them a little bit. It's not to say they don't have people behind him that can step it up, but that was a known commodity they had, and you knew what you were going to get, what to expect. I just think that losing somebody like that out of a wide receiver room is going to bring the wide receiver room down a step, but not like drastic. But I think they're going to notice the loss of him, and I think it's going to hurt a little bit.
I'm going to say no, man. Like I said earlier, I think wide receivers come a dime a dozen. Now, do the great ones come a dime a dozen? No. But I think Michael Pittman is replaceable. I think Alex, is it Pierce is his last name? I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be able to take over and do as much as what Michael Pittman was doing. I just don't think like losing Michael Pittman is that big of a deal.
Oh, man. I hate to lose Michael Pittman as a Colts fan myself. I think the physicality he brings to the wide receiver position is he's one of the few wide receivers in the NFL who plays like that. And I think, when it was crunch time, when we needed a first down, Michael Pittman was that guy we looked for. So I think he's going to be missed for sure. But I think Alec Pierce has the goods. He better have the goods for all the money they signed him to. They signed him to eat in Indianapolis. So that's just what he better do. But I think Alec Pierce, he's been a downfield wide receiver up to this point in his career. And I look for him to open up that route tree, run a lot of different things, some digs, some posts, curl routes and things of that nature, if he's going to be the wide receiver one for Indianapolis. Anything else on the wide receivers, fellas? Because I got a good question for y'all. And I'm going to start with you on this, Mr. Brown. Would you rather have Colston Loveland of the Chicago Bears or Tyler Warren of the Indianapolis Colts?
Oh, man, that's a really good question, and that's a really, really tough question. When you look at Tyler Warren, you think to yourself all the different things he can do, especially run after catch, his athletic ability. Not that Colston Loveland is way behind him on the athletic side, but, man, you think about Tyler Warren and all the stuff that he could do to help your team, man, in terms of just his skill set. But, man, I love Colston Loveland in that size. I'm going with Colston Loveland, man. I think I would rather have Colston Loveland. I think he's more able to go and be an inline guy, too, whenever you need to run the football. So he can probably do the dual thing for you in terms of blocking as a tight end and in terms of pass catching. But, man, Tyler Warren's athleticism is off the charts. But I'm going Colston Loveland.
What about you, SEC?
Well, Rob, as normal, we're going to disagree. It's Tyler Warren. That's the correct answer here. I like them both. Seriously, when you asked the question, would you rather have Colston or Tyler Warren, I said yes. That was my answer. Yes. I don't think you can go wrong anyway. First off, they both came out of the Big Ten. We all know as college guys and everything, if you want a tight end, you go find one in the Big Ten or once in a while down in Georgia. But that's really about where you go. I like what Warren brings. They're both 6'6". Warren's a little heavier. But I think for what Indianapolis is going to want to do with obviously leaning with the running game, you need that security blanket when things break down with some of the stuff we've talked about with the defenses and stuff coming in. And that's a solid answer number to go to. I mean, this guy was the NFL Rookie of the Week in week 2. I like his game better than I do Loveland's. Nothing against Loveland, please don't take that away. But I would rather have Tyler Warren.
Listen, fellas, this is a really difficult question because I think at the beginning of last year, I said it's Warren by a mile. Mm-hmm. But then as the season progressed, man, Loveland really came on and showed his ability to be a threat in that receiving game. I think Warren is more versatile, but I think Colston Loveland could really dominate a game in the receiving aspect of it. I don't know, man. I can't pick. I think both of these guys are going to be generational. And you know what? I think Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland both have really great chances this upcoming year to lead their team in targets and catches. I really do. Both of those guys, the Chicago Bears and the Indianapolis Colts. Anything else on the tight ends, fellas? No? Well, let's move on to the Tennessee Titans. Finished last in the AFC South last season. They get Cam Ward as their franchise quarterback. I know Rob's excited about him. I really thought that Jeremiah Love was going to fall to your Titans, but the Arizona Cardinals end up picking him, and y'all take Carnell Tate. But my first question, I'm start off with you, SEC. Who will be the Tennessee Titans wide receiver 1 this year? Will they go with Wan'Dale Robinson? Will it be Calvin Ridley, or will it be Carnell Tate? Who will be the number 1 wide receiver for the Titans this year?
If healthy, I think you go Calvin Ridley to start the season, but by the end of the season, I fully expect Carnell Tate to take that position over. But I think Ridley, if he's healthy with his experience, he's going to help bring Tate along. How to prepare for games, how to watch film in the NFL. It's different than college. I know they're similar, but the games are different. So he's going to have to learn. And I think learning from somebody like a Calvin Ridley is going to do nothing but help him. I would say by midseason, Tate's going to be the number 1 wide receiver on that roster.
Got you. How about you, Rob?
Man, without a doubt, it's Carnell Tate. Cam Ward has had enough of seeing what Calvin Ridley can do, and he realizes that Calvin Ridley does not want to be wide receiver 1. So he's going to make a choice to decide who's going to be his wide receiver 1, and I think he's going to pick Carnell Tate. Now, I do like Wan'Dale. I do like Wan'Dale Robinson and the possibility of him being wide receiver 1, but I know for sure it's not going to be Calvin Ridley, because Calvin Ridley had opportunities to help Cam Ward and was dropping balls religiously every game. And I just think that Cam Ward feels like, hey, man, listen, I can't rely on this guy. I got to find somebody I can rely on. And I think Wan'Dale is the likely choice, but I'd rather it be Carnell Tate, somebody that we spent a first-round number 4 pick on.
Yeah, those are great points. I actually like all 3 of these guys. I'm going to say this. I think Wan'Dale Robinson will have the advantage early simply because he's been with Brian Daboll in New York. Brian Daboll is now the offense coordinator for Tennessee. So I think to begin the year, I think he's going to be targeted heavy. But I think as you get, to the colder months, November, December, I think you're going to really see Carnell Tate take take off in this passing game. Anything else on that topic, fellas?
Yeah, I was just clarifying. I'm not saying Calvin Ridley's the number one. I'm just saying I think based on his experience, he's going to start as the number one on the depth chart, but move down. He's not the number one talent that Carnell Tate is. We've all seen what that kid can do watching him at Ohio State.
Yeah.
But I think Calvin Ridley's experience is going to help Carnell Tate in the long run.
Got you, 100%.
I'm gonna say this about that wide receiver room, though. They already got 5 guys that they already know are going to be the wide receivers in this camp. They're probably going to have 7 guys. Cam Ward is probably going to do everything he can to help his man Restrepo make this team, man. But if Restrepo does not, because he's only primarily really a slot guy, that might hurt him, man, the fact that he can't do multiple things. But I hope that Cam Ward does everything he can to help his partner from the Miami Hurricanes make this roster again for another season.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Let's move to the running back position, fellas. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, and then Nick Singleton from Penn State was drafted by the Titans. Do you think Tony Pollard holds on to the job for the duration of the season? I'm going to start with you, Rob.
Most definitely. I mean, his veteran leadership, man, is going to be everything that those 2 younger guys. Now, Spears has been in the system, I believe, for 2 years now. Of course, the Penn State running back is just now coming into camp. I think to start the season is definitely going to be Pollard, but I think they're going to realize that what's the guy from Penn State's name again, post-game?
Nicholas Singleton.
Nicholas Singleton is eventually going to be the running back for the Tennessee Titans going into the future. But I think Pollard's going to start off the season because, listen, man, this guy has had 1,000 yards rushing the last 4 seasons. The only other running back to have 1,000-yard rushing in the last 4 seasons has been Derrick Henry.
Ooh, I like that. What you got, SEC?
This one's a tough one because I think in a rebuild like Tennessee's in, I think you kind of use Pollard as a spotter and you bring in Singleton and see what you got. I think you test the waters with him. Let's be fair. Other than Rob, there's probably not another person in America who's predicting them to win the AFC South. But shout out, Rob. I'll give you all the credit in the world for a fan, man. But I think you're in a rebuild. And I think everybody knows that in Tennessee. And I think Pollard's the Calvin Ridley of the running backs. Get these guys moving forward. I think Singleton is the clear answer for the future. And I think you need to run him out there and see what you've got.
I'm going to say this, fellas. I feel similar to how I feel with the wide receiver position. I think it's going to be Pollard's backfield to begin the year. But I think as the season goes on and we get to those colder months, I think you'll see Singleton. Because Tajay Spears, he really can't stay healthy. I don't have much faith in him moving forward. So I'm going to say the top half of the season will be Pollard. But as the season goes on, I think Singleton to get more touches and more touches. Anything else on that running back situation?
And when you think about the offensive line that the Tennessee Titans got, you're going to need Pollard, bro, because he's more veteran. He understands what needs to happen, especially in pass pro. So it's going to definitely have to be Pollard at the beginning of the season with that atrocious offensive line.
For sure. How do y'all think Robert Saleh? I thought I had it, but Robert Saleh will fare as the Tennessee Titans coach, SEC Sean?
He'll improve the defense. But, I mean, you've got to take the first couple of years and give him a wash. You've got to let this guy get in there, put his stamp on this team. Either that or they need to tank and just try to go get Steve Sarkisian or something. I don't know. But I think if you're going to hire a coach, give them a couple of years to get people into your system and get them doing what you need them to do. So I think he's going to struggle this year a little bit. I think they'll be better than they were last year, but they're still going to be on the outside looking in for the playoffs.
Yeah, fellas. Rob, did you go? Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead. Go ahead, my man.
I like the move. I mean, when you look at what Callahan did the last 2 years, he probably should have got fired after his first year. Let's keep it 100. He probably should have got fired. But I like the new coach. I like the fact that he got some really good coaches with him. That's really going to help Cam Ward along. Callahan and that staff did Cam Ward no good in that last season. So I think that this new regime is going to help him tremendously. And we're going to see a better Titans team. Now, I know I said that they're going to win the division, but, that was me playing games. I really feel like they're going to be a better team.
I agree with you. I think Tennessee is going to be an improved team. Now, Robert Salah, his scheme is zone, and he puts heavy emphasis on the defensive line, and the defensive line being dominant and being able to stop the run and get after the quarterback. So I love his philosophy. Now, on offense, I think the genius thing he did was getting Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, say what you want about him as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, this dude knows what he's doing. And I think it was a perfect pairing to get him with Cam Ward. I expect Cam Ward to take that next step in his sophomore season. Anything else about the ball coach? No? Well, let's move, fellas, to the Houston Texans, a really, really interesting team in my estimation. I really like this team, but I want to get your opinion on them first. And I'm going to start with you on this, Rob. Will the Texans move on from C.J. Stroud if he has a down season this year?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, man. There were some teams out there that was willing to give up 2 first-round picks for C.J. Stroud. I believe that the Houston Texans are going to regret that, not taking that deal. Because I feel like C.J. Stroud he's so hot and cold. Eventually you understand that, listen, this guy's not going to lead us to the promised land. We got this amazing defense behind us. We got to do something, but we got to get somebody that can help this defense. Otherwise, these defensive guys are going to go out somewhere and seek a place where they can win championships. And last year, if C.J. Stroud played better, they were probably the best team in the AFC in terms of making it to the Super Bowl. Now, would that be Seattle? I don't know, but it would have been one heck of a defensive battle. I think they're eventually going to say to themselves, listen, we got to find somebody else. And the fact that we know there's going to be a boatload of quarterbacks coming out this year, they probably should have took that first-round deal so that they could get one of them. But they got C.J. Stroud that they could probably use as a piece to get in this draft next year to get somebody. So I think they're going to move away from C.J. Stroud. I do.
Okay. What you got, SEC?
I don't think they're going to move away from him. I think there's too much invested in him. They put too much into him in the first place. Now, I will say, if they have a down year, let's say they miss the playoffs, they're definitely going to find a quarterback and bring somebody in to push him, because the only thing pushing him is Davis Mills. And no offense to Davis Mills, that's not a starter in the NFL. Let's just be 100 on that, okay? So I don't think they move on. I think if they miss the playoffs, they're bringing in somebody in the draft or whatever to push him and maybe even have a QB battle. And then I could see him move on the following year. But I just don't see it. I think there's too much invested in him. Their offensive line needed some work. Also, they've addressed a little bit of that this offseason. Receiving core scares me, but we'll talk about that later. But I think they're fine. I think C.J. Stroud's fine for this year. I think it could be the following year that he could be in trouble.
Let me ask. That's interesting. What do you see about this receiving core that gives you worries?
Well, you lost Christian Kirk, who was an electric playmaker with the ball in his hands. You have Nico Collins, who I think is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But can he stay on the field?
Yep.
And you've got some other talent there. There's other talent there. Noel's there and all that. But it's not as proven as – and I'm not going to compare him to Cincinnati's receiver room. Let's just be fair. That's not fair for any team. But if Nico Collins goes down, who's going to step up? The other guys on the roster are more 2s and 3s, not 1s.
Yeah.
And unless one of them is going to grab the proverbial bull by the horns, if Nico goes down again, I don't know what to expect from that offense.
100%. Well, I mean, I'll say this. For them to want to move on from C.J. Stroud, he has to underperform this year. But like y'all mentioned, I like what they did to address the offensive line. That's first and foremost. Getting Braden Smith from the Colts, who's a really underrated tackle. Getting the kid Rutledge from Georgia Tech to address the guard position. That was a great pickup. So I want to see this offensive line and if it has made improvements and them wanting to rely on the run more, because we all know that defense is going to be sick, but we'll get to that. But I want to see how CJ, and he cut his hair. He cut his hair off, the reverse Simpson thing, fellas. So we'll see how he performed this year with what should be an improved offensive line. Y'all got anything else on Stroud?
Well, I'll say this real quick about Stroud. Going into the playoffs, the last, say, 2 or 3 games of the regular season, moving into the playoffs, there was a lot of talk about C.J. Stroud might be playing the best quarterback position in all of the NFL. And then it fell apart in New England on him. So I'm not taking one game to define C.J. Stroud's year last year, but that has to change. He can't do that again.
Yeah, that's a fact. I want to see how Tank Dell looks. I don't expect him to do a lot, but I just want to see him run. After being out all that time from the injury, before the injury, he was really dynamic. But let me ask y'all this. What type of season do you expect from David Montgomery? Because they get him from Detroit, where he was in a 1-2 punch kind of situation. But now he comes to Houston and he's the man. Rob, what do you expect from David Montgomery this season?
You know what? David Montgomery understands the landscape of the NFL, and he understands that he needed to do something about his body, and he did so. I think he lost maybe 10 pounds, and he understands that, listen, I got to be a guy who can hit these holes and get to that second level a lot quicker than I could with that weight on me, and just be a short yardage back and a goal line guy like I was in Detroit. He knows that he got and understands that he's going to probably be the guy toting the rock a lot for them, because they don't know what Joe Mixon is going to do. Joe Mixon has not come or said what he's going to do. So David Montgomery understands this is an opportunity for me to become the number one guy all over again. He lost that weight. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season, because the fact that they had Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, taking the load away from David Montgomery, allowed David Montgomery to preserve his body for some more years. So I think he's going to have an unbelievable season. And we know in order for Houston offensively to really be effective, they got to have that running game. And we know C.J. Stroud is a much better quarterback when he has the run game behind him.
I agree with that. What you got, SEC? You on mute?
Yeah. My computer keeps sticking. I mute for a minute while I'm looking up stuff and going through papers, so we don't have a lot of background, but then I can't get it to unmute. I think my computer's telling me something. I hope David Montgomery has a good season. And FYI, Rob, Joe Mixon is no longer with the Texans.
Oh,
He's at Philly. He's in Philadelphia. He's in Philadelphia now.
okay, good.
I saw that today when I was doing research. I didn't know he had left either until I was doing some research today, and it popped up. So I hope David Montgomery does. I mean, the Texans averaged 3.9 yards per carry last year. Come on. That's not going to cut it for a team that has bigger aspirations than the divisional round. We all know when you get into the later season of the NFL, even the playoffs, you have to be able to run the ball. So we'll see. I hope he does, being the number one running back now. Woody Marks is behind him, serviceable backup, typical backup, but Montgomery has to stay healthy, and he has to get you those tough yards. I mean, those third and twos that turn into, passing downs for the Texans because they couldn't run the ball. He's got to be able to pick up those yards right there. So I'm looking forward to him having a good year. I don't expect him to lead the league in rushing by any means, but as long as he can come out, stay healthy, move the chains when need be, punch it across the goal line when asked to, I think he'll do what he's needed to do.
I agree. I don't see him leading the team in rushing, but I think he can get awfully close to leading the league in rushing touchdowns. And for what I mentioned earlier, I think Houston has, improved this offensive line. I think they had their mindset on this offensive line in the draft and with free agency, not only to protect CJ Stroud better, but to open up holes for the running backs. And I think David Montgomery, while I agree he may not lead the league in rushing yards, I think he can get double-digit touchdowns. I really do. Anything else on David Montgomery, fellas? All right, SEC, jump it off, man. Will this be the best defense in the NFL?
Yes, I think so. They were really, really good last year, guys. And they didn't do anything but bolster it even more. They paid both their ends. They've got the two, probably they might have the best tandem edge rushers in college in football. Okay. They went and got in the second round, which I was shocked, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, Caden McDonald. I was shocked he was there in the second round. And you just plugged him in. He's a monster in his own right there on the D line. You plug him in there. Now you've even made the D line even more. Your linebackers are good enough to flow and go do what they need to do. You've got a killer secondary sitting behind you. Might be pound for pound one of the best secondaries. And they led the league in points allowed last year. I expect them to take a jump a little bit forward and lead. I think they've got the best defense in the NFL. And DeMeco Ryans, that's what he wants to do. This is, in my mind, they're mimicking the Baltimore Ravens. Stack the defense, give me just enough from the offense, and we can win the whole thing. That's literally how I think they're building this roster. And so I think it is. I think it's the best defense. Seattle's going to have something to say about it, but I think it's the best.
What you got, Mr. Brown?
They are most definitely going to be the best defense in the NFL this year. We may even be saying the 2026 Houston Texans defense is up there with the 95 Bears. No, I'm just playing. Not the 95 Bears, but they're going to be the best in the NFL this season. When you got Will Anderson coming off the edge, you got Derek Stingley Jr. These dudes are going to be lights out. And you know what's crazy about that is they know it and they expect it. And they're going to go out there and prove it because they're saying to the rest of the league, listen, we want this Super Bowl so bad that we put it on our shoulders and we're going to be the best defense in this league. And all we need is for our offense to get us 10, 12, 14 points, and we winning it all.
Yeah, great points, fellas. I love this deep. What DeMeco Ryans has done, and I've watched DeMeco Ryans when he was a player, me being a Colts fan. You know, he's always been a great football player. Now he's a great football mind. And salute to him to what he's doing with those Houston Texans. But that defense is serious. And I definitely think this will be the best defense in the NFL. All three levels, fellas. Defensive line, linebackers, DBs, all elite. And you're going to have a really tough time scoring on this team. So I hope they can get that offense together. They can stay healthy on offense because they need that offense to tag along with that defense. And we're looking at a team who can possibly be in the Super Bowl. Anything else on the defensive side of the ball?
You know what I find crazy here about this defense, how good they are? Rob, you pretty much talked a lot about the secondary. I talked a lot about the D-line. Nobody really talked about the linebackers, and they're good too.
Oh, yeah.
And we just kind of glossed over them, you know, and we're talking, I mean, the linebackers are good, but the other two, the D-line and the secondary, are that much better that the linebackers get overlooked.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, all three levels, my man. That is serious business down in Houston. So, I mean, great analysis. We breaking down the AFC South, what a division, what a year is going to be. I'm hoping my Indianapolis Colts can get themselves together and stay healthy and compete for the title. But, man, I'm telling y'all, that Jacksonville and Houston, man, they look like some elite ball clubs. And Tennessee is on their way as well, man. I really like the offseason moves they pulled off. But I got some questions for y'all. I'm going to start with you on this, Rob. Who's the best quarterback in the AFC South?
I'm going Trevor Lawrence, man. I feel like Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in this division. It may not look like he is, but I think he's the best quarterback in this division. I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I hope that he can prove me right.
What about you, SEC?
Well, I mean, if you're picking the best quarterback, you've got to go with the consensus pick here for the team that's going to win the conference, the division, right? So you've got to go with Cam. Never mind. I can't do it. I tried. I'm going to be devil's advocate just because I don't want us to all pick the same guy. So I'm going to make a case for C.J. Stroud. I think with an advanced offensive line, if Nico Collins stays healthy, I think C.J. Stroud is going to take the title of the best quarterback in the division. But it's right here with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, man, I'm taking Sunshine. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. I think, he's been up and down, more so disappointing in his year, but a lot of that has to do with the continuity on the coaching staff because his coaches keep getting fired. But it looks like they got that stabilized and their coach will be there for a while. So I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence, although I will say I think Cam Ward I think his upside might be a little higher. I truly believe that. It might be a little bit higher. So we'll see what happens. Who's the best running back in this division, SEC, Sean? We all know it's one answer.
Yeah, it's only one answer there is. And he's sitting right over there in Indianapolis. That's the only answer. There's not another one on that level. There's some that maybe could reach that level, but they ain't there yet. So it's got to be Jonathan Taylor.
What about you, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, it's Jonathan Taylor. Who had Jonathan Taylor on their team in our fantasy football league? Did you have Jonathan Taylor?
No. I won a championship.
Whoever had Jonathan Taylor in our fantasy football league, he dropped 50 points on my head by himself. By himself, man. I'm like, so it's Jonathan Taylor. When a guy can drop a 50 burger on your head in fantasy football, he's the best running back in this division.
For sure. Yeah, Rob, I didn't have Jonathan Taylor, but I won a championship.
We're not talking about that post game.
But yeah, it's Jonathan Taylor easy, man. Come on. This is the best running back in the AFC South, man. And I was just so excited when the coach took him out of Wisconsin in the draft. I drafted him that year as a rookie on my fantasy team, and it paid dividends. But it's Jonathan Taylor. It's not even close. Who's the best wide receiver in the AFC South, Rob?
I'm going Nico Collins. If he can stay healthy, I think hands down he's probably the best out of everybody that we talked about on all of these teams, receiver-wise. So I'm going Nico Collins. Just stay healthy, man, so you can help C.J. Stroud and help that number one defense that we think the NFL is going to be in the NFL make it all the way to the Super Bowl, because y'all definitely should have been there last year playing against the Seattle Seahawks.
What's up, SEC?
Yeah, I mean, when healthy, it's got to be Nico Collins. I don't really know that it's really too close in my mind, so I'm going Nico.
Going Nico. Who's the best tight end in the AFC South SEC?
This one's a little tougher. We talked about Warren up there, but I'm going with a proven commodity who's done it. I'm going Dalton Schultz. Okay. I like what he brings to the Texans. I think he's perfect for C.J. Stroud in that game. So I'm going Dalton Schultz.
Who you got, Rob?
I'm going with Tyler Warren, man. I think that he's going to be the best tight end out. Daniel Jones is going to have something to say about that. So he's going to have to stay healthy. But I'm going to say this, man, when it comes to these tight ends, I really feel like Gunnar Ham, the tight end for the Tennessee Titans, even though he's a Texas guy, he's probably going to get the nod as starter. He has opportunity to be really, really good for the Titans. And I think Cam Ward is going to enjoy that welcome addition with him becoming the starter at tight end. But I think it's Tyler Warren right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Tyler Warren. We talked about him early on the stream. Versatile guy. You can line him up anywhere. He has great size. He can move for that size, and he has mittens that are soft, so he can catch everything. So I'm going Tyler Warren. How about pass rusher, Rob? Who's the best pass rusher in the AFC South?
It's Will Anderson, but I want to say Jeffrey Simmons coming up the middle for my Titans. But no, it's Will Anderson, man. This dude, you got to know where he is all day long. And, man, he has gotten so much better from year one to year two. This year, he's going to be unstoppable, bro. Unstoppable.
What you got, SEC?
The Houston Texans. That's the best pass rusher. It's Will Anderson. Come on, guys. I mean, we can do that's like the running back question. You threw that in to give us a layup. I know what you did.
No doubt. Y'all don't think Daniel Hunter? He led the Texans in sacks.
That's why I said it, because so much attention gets focused to Will Anderson that Hunter cleans up a lot. And not that, I mean, he's good. Hunter's really good. Nobody in the stream from Houston come at me. But, yeah, I think that's part of it right there.
Yeah, we all agree it's Will Anderson. But, I mean, it's the same effect when you think years back with Freeney and Mathis. Freeney got so much attention that it allowed Mathis to really eat in the sack department. And while I'm saying Will Anderson, I'm just tell y'all, watch out for Liatu Latu of the Indianapolis Colts. Third year, his sacks increased every season. Keep an eye out on him. Who's going to win the AFC South, SEC, Sean?
I actually took the time, if you all are interested, and predicted the division. I've got Houston winning the division 12-5. I've got Jacksonville second, 12-5.
Oh,
Indy 10-7, and Tennessee 6-11.
that's pretty
Six
good.
wins? Man, I will take 6 wins, bro.
I told you they're going to be better. You got to remember, they get, I don't want to say lap, but they get a weaker schedule because of their record from the previous year. They don't get a first place schedule. They get a fourth place schedule.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to help them. And I do like some of the additions they've made in Tennessee, but I think this league runs through Houston this year.
Now, okay, I can dig it. That's interesting. What you got on that, Rob? Who's gonna win the AFC South?
I think it's Houston, man. Whenever you got a defense that can probably keep teams under 10 points, and when you look at my Titans, you think the Titans are going to score more than 10 points on them? Probably not. Jacksonville maybe get 13, and the Colts may get 17 because they have a really good run game. But I just don't see anybody being able to score enough points to outscore them in this division. They'll probably go 6-0. So I got the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I think Texans are the favorite. If they're healthy, they're the favorite. If they're a little bit banged up, they're the favorite. Probably if they're a lot banged up on offense, they still might be the favorite. But especially if C.J. Stroud takes off. If C.J. Stroud takes off or at least gets close to that level he was in his rookie campaign, I can see them. I think 5 losses may be too much at that point. But if everything is everything, I definitely see the Texans winning this division for sure. Rob, are there any Super Bowl contenders in this conference before we get out of here?
Oh, yeah, definitely the Houston Texans. They're definitely a Super Bowl contender.
Do you see them winning the Super Bowl?
I can see them. I can see them winning the Super Bowl simply because I think they will have a run game. We've seen Seattle win it with a really good defense, and even though Sam Darnold threw the ball pretty well, it was Walker running in that Super Bowl that won that thing for him. And I think that the Houston Texans can do that, especially because they're going to have a better offensive line. It ain't going to be the greatest of all times, but it's going to be better. And I think David Montgomery and the other running back they got it can hit it together and they can win the Super Bowl.
How about you, SEC?
Yeah, I think Houston is the easy answer here, and that's what I'm going to say is I think I've got them 12-5 only because I see them and Jacksonville splitting that for sure. But I think they may drop. But I think, to be honest with you, for Houston to get to the Super Bowl, Houston better go better than 12-5, and they better have the 1 seed in the playoffs because playing in Houston is not fun. Playing in Houston can be really, really loud. Those fans are crazy down there. So, but with a defense like that, man, defense travels. So give me C.J. Stroud's rookie year with that defense, and Houston probably lifts the Lombardi Trophy.
I agree. If there's a Super Bowl contender in this conference right now, it has to be Houston with that defense. And I agree. If C.J. Stroud can get back to that point where he was in his rookie campaign, I can see them actually getting there and winning. But that's all I got on tonight. Y'all got anything before we get out of here?
Let me ask you one quick question, both of you. Oh, go ahead, Rob. Go. No, you go first.
Go ahead. No, you go.
But just a quick question. What's the best rivalry in this division? Is it the hatred between Tennessee and Houston? Or we're going to leave Jacksonville out because I don't think they have one. But Tennessee and Houston's hatred with the move and everything that went on there? Or is it Indy and Houston who have always been, with each other? When one's 0-15, they beat the 15-0 team, that kind of stuff. What's a better rivalry here?
I don't know.
For me, SEC Sean and Postgame, it gotta be my Tennessee Titans against them Indianapolis Colts, because my son, who's a Colts fan, be in my ear like crazy, and he's been in my ear quite a lot here lately.
Yeah, I don't think it's any rivalries in the AFC South because the Colts have just dominated for so many years and years for it to be a rivalry. The other team
that is true.
Win.
That is true. That is true.
Anything else, fellas?
I'm gonna say this about my Titans, man. They are one of the teams who, when you talk about talented players, 25 years old and younger, they are probably ranked in the top 5 in the NFL in that category, which means if they can keep going with the coach that they have and he can continue to keep building on that, Tennessee could be a really good team in a couple of years.
100%. And I think y'all made the right choice as far as the head coaching position.
Yeah.
Well, this has been real fun. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back here Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure y'all back. We appreciate the chat. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. This has been fun. For Mr. Robert Brown, the legendary Mr. Robert Brown. For SEC Sean with the SEC Sean podcast and me, myself, Postgame. We out of here. Peace.